for discussion.
I would like to welcome everybody to the Quarry Valley Unified Union School District Board meeting for May 8th, 2025. If everyone could stand and face the flag and say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First order of business, I'd like a motion to approve the agenda, or are there any additions or deletions?
Could we just, on the Articles of Agreement, do 4, 5, and 6? 7 and 8 are really huge.
Okay.
And 4, 5, and 6, I've got a few little things just to ask people about, but I'd like to just do them and do 7 maybe in depth next month.
Okay. All right.
Is anybody okay with that?
Also, just to do everything at once, I've got a few deletions under new business. A, public board access, and B, board process, and that will be moved to future agenda items for June.
Could I ask what they are?
I am not sure. Mike's not going to be here tonight, and
okay.
there were Mike's.
Okay.
And then also, I would like to add to personnel leave request for an item that would be item C. Is there any other additions or deletions? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Opposed? So moved. Is there any general public comments?
Yes. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Dionne Johnson. I'm a taxpayer here in West Rutland. I am a parent of a West Rutland student. I am also a Quarry Valley employee, and I'm also president of the West Rutland Booster Club. I came to this meeting tonight because I was watching online the meeting from April 10th. Mm-hmm. And I'm honestly going to say I was appalled at some of the behavior that I witnessed of some of the board members. I am not the only one in this town that feels that way. And they are honestly wondering how it got to that level and why it wasn't taken into executive session at that point when I know some people had asked and why that didn't happen. Mm-hmm. You know, like I said, I'm a parent first and foremost, and I'm also a staff member, but I was embarrassed by the way that things were handled. And okay. I felt that that's important for everybody to know that. And again, there are people that could not come tonight because of different things going on. That could not make it, that really wanted to be here. And so Chris, just so you're aware, you may be getting some letters from other members, not only of the Booster Club, but of the West Rutland community on that behalf. I am also here. Yeah, I asked,
when I receive those letters, am I to share those with the board, or just...
They said that they would be putting that in there,
okay.
You know, if they want those shared or not.
Okay. Thank you.
So, and you know, it's not all members, but there were times that it just was way out of hand, and it should have gone into either executive session or something. It really was appalling. I'm also here because I was very unclear on the vote on behalf of the gate fees and different fundraisers. Mm-hmm. And I see that's back on the agenda tonight, yeah. So I can certainly wait until this at the end of the meeting to speak. But if you'd like me to do that now on behalf of the Booster Club and our fundraising and my questions, I would gladly do that.
It's up to you.
Okay. Well, first of all, it's always been a thought process of a lot of the board member or Booster Club members that they really wish that the gate fees had stayed within the schools and not gone to the general fund. And, our schools are taking that money and then putting it in the general fund, and then, we're scrambling. The Booster Club does whatever they can to help support the athletic programs. Different than some of the other booster clubs, ours is not a townwide, it's specific to sports. It doesn't cover music, it doesn't cover drama, it doesn't cover other things. It clearly is and strictly is a sports booster club, so that's what we support. So our concern is, if the gate fees are going to continue to go to the general fund, and then the vote that had happened, if I'm understanding correctly, is that going to impact our Blodzik tournament potentially, because we collect admissions. And that is a huge fundraiser for us. Matter of fact, it's about one of our only fundraisers because we follow protocol within the school. The seniors, all of those get first dibs on fundraisers. They know that that's our fundraiser. We let all the other classes do their fundraisers, so we're not competing. And in order for us to keep this going, we need that revenue to support the schools. And if we have to give up potentially our admission fees, that is 40% this year of what we raised, which was a substantial amount of money. And I'm asking, for people to reconsider looking at that and, let the money stay within the schools. And, we have a process. I work closely with Joe Harrington and Jay. The Booster Club members, if we need Joe to come to a meeting, he does. We have a solid working relationship at this time, and I just think it's the benefit of all of the schools to hang on to their own money.
At the end of the meeting, we did discuss that we were going to bring it back up and have a discussion about that. And so we will be doing that tonight.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on to consent agenda. Item A, approval of the minutes of April 10th, 2025.
I would like to not approve the minutes of April 10th because there's a lot of little things, and I really would like to go back and listen to it. It starts off at the very beginning by saying, even though we had told Mr. Raish that it would, his coming to the meeting would reflect his, how he felt what happened, it never got put in there, and I don't know how we're going to look at that, but we should, because it really didn't, there was either no audio or technical issues, so I don't know if he just wasn't close enough, and so she couldn't, so I'd like to put, figure that out, how we can get something in the minutes of that for him, because basically we're not doing what we said we were going to do, which was have him able to put what he felt was his side of the story, and that's always a good thing, because in the other ones we had the other side of the story, so it's respectful, I think, for the Raishes to have something in there. And then on page 9 of the minutes, under the discussion, it says that Chris confirmed this process had been in place for 7 years. Lewis had said he had conversations with the administration, and then there was some discussion about whether there was some that with the administration or not. And then it was like below on the discussion, there was a question of why this is now coming to light, and if he had a discussion a while ago, why didn't it come to light to the board? So I think I just would like the opportunity to listen to it. And on page 10, what did I say to page 10? About a policy or procedure. where is that? No policy or procedure, just a process in place. But I thought Louis said that there were some policies and procedures, so that didn't sound quite right. And, you know, it sort of says that we're doing it wrong, but Proctor and West Rutland are doing it right. So I just would like the opportunity to go back and reread it and re-listen to it and then bring that
Bring this up in June?
in June. So I would like to not vote. I mean, we can vote on it and people can say, yes, we'll take it. I think that's the process of doing it, but I would like it to go back and get a little bit more time to
Okay,
listen.
okay. Lisa?
We can let the minutes lie. You don't have to take action on them.
Okay.
I think it's problematic when board members rewrite minutes. I think if you want to have minutes reassessed, then we should ask the minutes individual to go back and listen again. And I think those that participated in the open meeting law discussion, that before the GRCSU meeting the other evening, it was clear that we do not have to have this level of detail in minutes. In fact, that's one of the things that they encourage you not to have. So, but I think if the consensus of the board is that minutes need to be reassessed, that needs to be done by the person that is writing the minutes, not by a board member.
Well, I'm not going to rewrite them. I just want to listen to them.
You said, and bring back
Well, I mean, isn't that what we
recommendations.
do when we bring back the minutes? We talk about what's in the minutes in order for them to be approved? So I can't bring back something, I mean, I just did. So I don't understand what you're saying then. I'm not rewriting them, I'm just bringing up things that didn't quite make sense to me.
One of my concerns is, when this whole thing blew up, is the comment made about skimming, which is totally ignored in here. And it was a pretty strong word. And it implied that it is a possibility, and, you know, in reference to the Booster Club, I think, more than anything, but it really hit a lot of raw nerves, and I don't see that listed anywhere, but it was a comment made, and I believe it was damaging, I guess,
Okay.
and I would like the minutes to reflect that.
Okay.
That, you know, Lewis's concern was possibility of skimming.
Is there a law that, or statute that talks about board members not being able to listen to the minutes that were recorded?
No, I've listened to them before.
Anybody can listen to
Yeah,
the.
I listened to them.
So
Anybody can view the
Yeah.
meetings. I think what Lisa's referencing is that the official minutes must include members present, motions, votes, and results. That there should not be a transcript of the meeting. So I think we just need, I think our board secretary, or Shauna Chamberlain, would need to know direction from the board if you would like her to do a verbatim, word-for-word transcript. That's going to be costly because of the amount of time it'll take her to transcript. Or we can ask her then to go back to just doing just the members present, the motions, the votes, and the results, and just leave it at what she's legally obligated to do. I think that's just up to the board to have to decide what they would like, how they would instruct Shauna to do that. But
Why would you want her to shorten them up just to be basic?
well, I'm just saying that's what you. I'm not saying anything, Tom. I'm saying it's up to the board.
That's why I said not you, just
Yeah.
in general.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that is what the open meeting law says. I'm saying I think it's inappropriate that if you want the minutes to more reflect, or if you think something isn't in there, that the person taking the minutes should be the person we should ask to go back and do that.
She's just trying to look at them again, that's all.
I didn't say
before we accept
anything. No one said anything about looking at them. We've gone down in a completely different path than we started on.
Okay.
So I would like to do that and maybe look at the June.
So why don't we
and do it in
table,
June.
why don't we table the approval of the minutes for April 10th, 2025 meeting and address approving them after you've listened and whoever else wants to listen to them? Does the board want the meetings to be written out like verbatim, to more exact?
Well, it's either have to be a transcript which captures everything
Right.
that was said, which will be costly. And I'm
Right.
just saying that just to be aware that it's going to cost, a lot of time and effort on, or, I know that this is the part of the problem that Shauna summarizes discussions.
Or we could go.
There are things that are missed out on, such as this.
Or we can go back and just, if someone wants to highlight a certain portion of the meeting, if a board member feels that it's important, there's no like rule against approving that portion that they feel is important, adding that to the minutes, right?
I do not believe there's anything wrong with recognizing something that was said,
Okay.
quotes. I think the issue is if we begin editorializing
Right.
what occurred. But I think if we are providing a statement that we like highlighted, then, and that's something which is a matter of public record because it is on the video, it is on the recording.
Okay.
But I think where Lisa's talking about is, I don't edit the minutes, I don't touch the minutes. I look at them, but really, Shauna, if there are any issues, Shauna's the only one that changes and makes any corrections.
Okay.
So, and I know that other board, or superintendents and boards have had issues where, whether it be a superintendent or someone has editorialized or try to change things. And that is part of the, I think we've been very blessed with the way Shauna keeps the minutes because they are very detailed, but there are times when things get left out or things get summarized and can be problematic.
Is that hard to, like, whoever thinks something's important in there, like to get a hold of her and say, hey, could you look at this and add this? If
It really should come before the board, and it should be the board decision that this is a statement that was made, or, here's something that we'd like to, for public record, that should be brought before the board, and the board should decide if they want to enter that into the official minutes.
That's what I'll do.
It shouldn't be
next-
just
next
something,
time.
an individual.
Okay. So you would like to? So we need a motion to we can just table it.
Right.
I need a motion to table the minutes.
Make a motion to table it.
Okay, so there's been a motion made to table the approval of the minutes for April 10th, 2025 meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
So moved. All right, moving on to approval of the warrants. Do I have a motion to approve the warrants?
I'll make a motion.
A motion's been made to approve the warrants. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Superintendent's report.
Thank you. I went over a lot of this on Tuesday. I know that this is as we approach the end of the year, I said on Tuesday, it's like a fall, spring, where we come back from spring break, when we think that we are close to the end of the year, and we still have a long ways to go. But we have listed the graduation dates and times. It would be nice to see as many board members as possible at our graduations, particularly our high school graduations, as they move on to post-secondary careers and paths. It is difficult when we do have two high schools scheduled at the same time, so we do rotate, but it is a nice culmination, particularly of the student's career. Some of these kids have been all with us since pre-K or kindergarten, so it's nice to see them on their way. I know that this is Teacher Appreciation Week, so we just want to recognize our staff for all the hard work that they do. It is greatly appreciated. We say this all the time, but that the family that we feel here is a direct result of our staff and our teachers. So just want to say thank you to them. I do have a large section here on H454. What I've tried to do is, as we receive this information, There's a lot. I know the VSBA on Monday, I think it was Monday afternoon, released another comparison, because I think it was last Friday, the Senate Ed Committee by a vote of 6-0 voted out their version of H454. That is currently sitting in the Finance Committee. We'll wait to see what happens with that. There are some changes. That's, we take a look from the H44 to Senate. Some items of particular note is a shift in terms of there are no class sizes, in terms of minimums. I know the House version had listed some minimum class sizes, which would have caused us to take a look at some of our schools, some of our classrooms. The Senate version removes those in terms of school limits. We also take a look at the big thing is around the redistricting or the map. That the House had a task force that was comprised of legislators as well as individuals within the field of education who have some experience, have some knowledge. The Senate has proposed that it will be comprised of 8 legislators, 4 from the House, 4 from the Senate, with no political affiliation. And that task force is charged with, by December 15th of next year, to provide at least one map in terms of what this state will look like in terms of how it'll be rezoned or broken up. If by the General Assembly cannot come to an agreement by, I think, January 31st, the task force also has to provide what's called an alternate plan to promote school consolidation. And so these are just some big items to take a look at. Obviously, there are some good things in here too. As we look at graduation requirements across the state, there are pros to that. The fact that we look at a higher set of standards for all of our students. But as we look at our graduation requirements, we have to take a look at our curriculum, look at our current course offering, to make sure that we are in alignment with that. So it's interesting to see what would happen there. So if they would say that schools may need, say, 3 years of foreign language, that'd be something we'd have to take a look at. How would we offer 3 years of foreign language within our current setting? Or if they change, they said, the math requirement, or even just a civics requirement, or a community service requirement, things along those lines. So it'll be interesting to see what that committee would come up with around a graduation requirement. In other states I've worked with, they have had state graduation requirements, but it would just be more of a pivot away from that local control around local boards decision making. People have asked where this is taking us. To be honest, I don't really know, and I say this because we're just kind of see. I do know that when this process began, but with the boards, the VSA, the VPA, all had asked legislators, it said for them to look at consolidation, and to them, for our legislators and our governor to take a heavier hand in this and really kind of direct this. And what it looks like is we are kind of backsliding into just creating these large districts where we'll maintain our current school numbers, and then the new district, the new board will then make decision around consolidation after. And I know they talk about, even in this Senate version, around incentivizing consolidation, which sounds a lot like what Act 46 was. And we all know how all those incentives worked. So it is, like I said, it's kind of a wait and see. But I know people ask, what does that mean for us? I think we still look at our strategic plan and how we can make sure that we are providing the best opportunities for our kids in terms of career pathways, extracurricular academic offerings, and what that may look like in our current configuration, as well as in future configurations that the board decides to take a look at. So I don't know if there are any questions about H454.
No, thank you. It's so nice. You do such a great job in doing that. The only thing I was just going to say, in terms of graduations, guys, from Poultney, our next Quarry Valley meeting, I think, is on Poultney Elementary School graduation. So if we go, we won't have anybody, or we'll have to, just to let you know, I don't know if anybody was planning on going. I was planning on going, so. I like to go to both, though.
Okay.
I don't know if we wanted, we probably can't change the meeting.
That could be a board discussion at the end if they would like. So
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Chris. All right, moving on to principal reports.
I don't mind going first.
Can I do one more thing? Last time at the meeting, you said something about how many of our students do not get into Stafford and how many programs are at capacity. Can you tell us that next month?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll go. Great.
Now you're up.
Yeah, sure. Good evening, everybody. Thank you. I appreciate that. I did want to echo what Chris said. Obviously, Teacher Appreciation Week, and as Dion said, first and foremost, as a parent in the Supervisory Union, specifically in Quarry Valley, we just are so thankful for what everyone does. And as an administrator, it's great to work with just a collective set of really powerful educators. So thank you. In my report, April was such a fun month at Proctor. We had so many student-led projects, walking around fourth grade and seeing all of these students dressed as, like, we had Ben Franklin in here, we had Leonardo da Vinci, I even had Taylor Swift. It was fantastic. They really ran with, an informational unit. It was great. Third grade spent weeks working on an interdisciplinary unit. Our sixth grade, it was just really great to see them at the celebration of work night, how proud they were. I think it was an even higher attended event than our open house was, which is always highly attended. So kudos to everybody for putting that on. May is so busy with field trips. We have Boston next week. Lots of trout releasing and hikes and just community, building, and it's great. And then we wrap up in June as well. So it's still a lot left. We have assessments to do. Still high level of instruction. I'm just really proud of everybody. And tomorrow we're working on things for next year, which is hard to believe, but that's what we're doing. So if there's any questions, I don't mind answering.
Looks like you don't have to answer any questions.
Great, thanks.
Good evening, everybody. In addition to the written report, same thing. April is, flying by. We tell everybody too, once we get back from break, it's just boots on the ground and we're just going. A couple field trips already. Tomorrow morning we're doing our spring fling, even in the rain. We're still, and it's great. That's all teacher driven. And we got a lot of things going on for that tomorrow morning, and we're doing our half-day PD tomorrow. We're talking about, revisiting this year and, planning for next year with that. We just, one of the things, trying something new this year for graduation. After our graduation practice at the high school, we're going to, they don't know it yet, but we're going to bring the seniors down to the elementary school and kind of do like a little walk through the halls down there, walk around the library down there, and just kind of, Kristen and I talked about it earlier this week, and I just think it's a great thing for, teachers to see their former students up there, and even the little kids to, unlike West Rutland, we're not all in the same building, so they can't see them all the time, so I think that'll be kind of cool. Looking forward to that. Give a shout out, Melissa Christensen. It seems like every week we're having here where kids are in this art show, kids are in that art show. The kids went to Manchester last week to the Southern Vermont Art Center. She's got 2 kids going to the Vermont Congressional Art Show tomorrow. So, kudos for that. And echoing what everyone else said too about the staff appreciation. It's just, last week at our staff meeting, we're talking about a lot of positivity and stuff like that, and it was like 2 weeks before, the week before break, but 2 weeks before that meeting, we're all in there and everyone's frazzled and at the last straw, and what a difference just that, and it's, we're going to the end. I had all my teachers, I said, just pick a parent, pick a student, write a positive email to them, give them like 10 minutes just to write an email out. I will say something too. We did go on our Puerto Rico trip, and that was amazing. And on the flight back, and we were flying back. We got home back. We pulled into Pulteney's parking lot at 1:55 a.m. on Sunday morning. So we had a late flight coming back in, and we flew Southwest where they don't have seats. We were like the last group in, and everyone's just picking their seats. And this family came in after us, and I heard 2 of my students behind me like, do you want to sit together? We can find seats. So these 2 kids got up and sat middle seats between 2 strangers for the flight. And I'm like, afterwards we got I'm like, that was awesome. Like, not a big deal. I'm like, no, it is a big deal. So, just shout out, just say, there's a lot of good in our kids and stuff like that. So I'm proud of that. And, again, to give a shout out to my staff. Amazing. And it's really, we've come a long way in the last couple of years. The culture shift is starting to change, and a lot of it is due to them. They're putting a lot of work into it this year, so looking forward to the end of this year and planning for next year.
Great.
Any questions?
All right. Looks like you get a pass too. Jay.
All right, well, good evening, everyone. Besides my report, again, we'd like to also, Jen will say it too, we'd like to thank our staff. The West Rutland PTO has been really good this all year, but they've really helped us put together a wonderful staff appreciation week along with the office staff. But I did want to highlight, if you look under the happenings and celebrations, there's just a lot. As we've all said, Jen will say too, no doubt, there's just a lot going on in all of our buildings. AP tests were going on this week. Prom is this weekend. Last week, our senior class trip came back from Florida. Uneventful except for a couple sunburned folks. Just a lot of really good things happening. Joe's been trying to reschedule and schedule games around the weather. So thank you to him, because it's a thankless job to try to get a hold of people. And we're, just like Joe said, tomorrow my secondary folks are going to be really working on planning for next year. And actually K6 is in their own way also, as we are looking at bringing into Bridges 3, which is the new math program, our University of Florida Literacy Initiative, UFly, is coming up to grade 2. We're doing a lot of collaboration in kindergarten next year, so lots and lots of positive things that will not make it into the report. It's just too much to put in. So I can answer any questions that you may have, but we're like everybody else. We want to get to June, and it's going to be here really, really quick.
Nice. Any questions? Oh, you get a pass too. Jen.
Hi. So I'll just start off by saying we love our teachers, and we're really appreciative of them, just not this week, but all year long. I think the classroom has really changed over the years, and so this work is not only hard work, it's heart work too. Like, you really have to be in love with doing it, and our teachers are professionals who show up every day and work really hard, so we appreciate them. We have AP testing going on. We have a bunch of field trips going on at the end of the year. We have a community event on May 28th where an author, Kate Messner, is coming in. Both the elementary and the high school read a book that she is coming to talk about and present about. And then we're doing a free book giveaway from 3 to 5 at Proctor High School on the 28th. And we built this story walk trail through some of the Proctor Town property in the back. And there's picture books that we've placed out, and this was done through one of my classes where we dug the holes and we laminated the book and everything like that. And so she's coming. So it's very cool. Please come check it out. Like, it's been a whole year's worth of work that has taken place. And Linda McEwen has sort of spearheaded that, so I have to shout her out too. We also had our Alice in Wonderland play, and it was like the littles were there running around, and we had the seniors, and they were just together, and they were helping each other out, and costumes and all this stuff. And we don't get to see it all the time with the littles, like Joe said, having them right in your building, but our kids really do care about one another and the younger kids too. And then the only other thing that we kind of have going on is on Sunday, May 25th, we're in the Memorial Day Parade, and then we also have our concert on June 2nd at 6:30. So Chrissy Pepindra does an amazing job with our band, and don't miss out.
Great. Thank you.
Come to the color run this weekend too in Proctor. Got rained out last weekend, so.
Lots of rain. Does anybody have any questions for Jim? All right. Moving on to old business, school consolidation. Sarah sent me some data points for consideration when talking about school consolidation. And I thought maybe we could go through these. I don't know, has everybody on the board had a chance to look at this?
Yes.
Okay.
Could maybe we just pick a couple? There's a lot, involved. She did a great job.
Okay.
amazing job. And, you know, I'm going to bring this up, but it might be a good idea for us because this is huge. We've asked to have somebody help us, and the didn't seem like the board thought that was a good idea, perhaps. And so I'm wondering, would it be better if we had started having a meeting just on this, where we could really dive into some of these things instead of doing it during a regular meeting? So I'm putting that out to people to see what their thoughts are.
Should we make a decision on that tonight? Should we think about that for
June.
for June?
Yeah, we could think about that for June.
Okay.
Yeah. It just seems, you know, they asked us to do it, so it's something big, and to try to do it during a regular meeting, you know, we warn it, maybe we get some people from the communities to come, I don't know, maybe not, but
That'd
if
be
it
nice
was
if
just
they
a
did.
meeting about this consolidation, it might bring some people.
Okay. So basically, everybody should have this in their email. If, you know, starting in June, we'll pick out the first two. We'll go over financial assessment, and we'll just start ticking these off, checking these off. A couple of them each meeting. So I think this would make I read through it and I thought it was pretty concise. I still believe that it's something bigger than what this board should be doing. I think that there should be a consultant hired outside of this board to take care of it with a consulting firm that has experience in this sort of thing. Does anybody have any questions about this data point list?
Could we start with educational impact first?
You want to go over that?
I mean, yeah. Current enrollment trends and 5-year projections for schools, building capacity.
So those would be our two things. Is that something we need some input from the administration on, wouldn't we, Chris? For those
Sure,
two items?
For those two, if you would like us to bring some data June, we can have that data for you.
Okay.
The 5-year, 10-year projection will be just that, a guesstimate, so we have to understand, so just.
How about, how many extra kids could you guys fit in your buildings?
That would be building capacity.
Okay, yeah, and nothing that's carved in stone, and we know we'd have to hire teachers and helpers and all that stuff. If you guys, like, how many think you could take in each, school? How many could you add without busting at the seams?
Okay.
And how about special program offerings unique to each school? Because that would be something principals could talk about. Could we do that one too?
Where's that one?
Four,
Fourth one down.
under educational impact
Right here.
analysis.
Okay. I'm fine with it, if everybody else is. June. Could you, if the board would like, maybe we could figure out some costs for consultants so we could make a educated decision on that. Chris, how hard is it to get prices on consulting firms regarding that?
Sure, I can reach out to both local as well as regional
Okay.
costs. I can see what.
Okay, great. All right, so moving on from old business to new business. And we're going to start with transportation to sporting events.
Yeah, there's no ADs here to answer.
Joe here.
Joe's right there.
Oh, beautiful. That, we're always trying to pinch pennies, and We don't have the boys and the girls traveling together?
If they play together. They don't play in the same place together, we could.
Yeah, the girls go to Polteny and the boys go to Proctor, and then the girls, they're not traveling unless this thing is wrong, but it shows Polteny, Proctor, MSJ, Twin Valley, White River Valley, and Arlington, they don't travel together. Maybe I have a wrong thing, but
Oh, what you're looking at.
boys high school baseball and girls high school softball.
Yeah, but I don't think of those, I'm not looking at it, so I don't know, are the baseball team and softball team both playing at, say, Arlington on the same day?
No.
Yeah, because they're in different divisions now, so a lot of times it's not happening like it used to. Girls play in the C division in softball and boys
Yeah,
play
but
in the B division.
if you're
If
sending,
they were going to the same place, we would send them together.
but they're not, like, the girls will go to Twin Valley, which is down by Mass,
Yeah,
and then a week later, the boys go down.
yeah,
And that's,
yeah.
why wouldn't they go together?
Well, the scheduling is done at the state level, so, I mean, that's something we can look at adjusting if that can work out, sure. I mean, there probably are a couple occasions that they do play the same schools, but traveling at different times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
six again, like, Polteny and Proctor, we're Quarry Valley.
Well, we definitely, I mean, although it got canceled because of rain,
Yeah.
like, we were sending both to you. I know at the end
Correct.
end of the
Proctor was
month-
sending both over
Yeah,
here. We
and then,
weren't sending both to
You're
you.
talking about just West Rutland?
Yeah.
Okay. I know we do try to do that.
Yeah.
This baseball season has been
Well, I get
crazy.
rainouts and, yeah, that, I get all that,
Yeah.
but the state makes these schedules up?
The state schedule, yep.
Who's our guy or girl that makes ours?
So there's one person in the state who takes all the schedules, let's just take baseball for
Yep.
instance, and creates a schedule.
Yep.
So one guy does that for the state.
Can we like call them and say, hey, bud,
Well-
you're wasting our money?
Well,
We're trying to squeeze
What
it.
can happen is, after we get drafts of them. So it's just a matter of looking closer and see where we can change it. We have the ability to change the schedule.
Yeah, 'cause-
Once he makes it, we can change it.
Yeah, because it looks like Proctor and Polteny travel pretty hard together, and we don't travel at all
And
together.
again, some of it is that baseball and softball do not play the exact same. In some cases, they probably do, as you said, but there are a lot of cases that they're not playing the same school.
No,
Now,
that-
Bolton, they do.
I get
Proctor,
that.
they do.
In MSJ, Twin Valley, White River, and Arlington,
MSJ, they don't. Arlington.
They don't?
They don't.
oh, okay.
No, the MSJ softball team, people that play for them, they come to us.
Arlington is not in our division for girls softball anymore, so that would not be.
West
something-
Rutland girls, Arlington away.
Oh, maybe, oh, you know what, that got added late because
They haven't-
Green Mountain canceled their softball season, so that game got picked up late. So, yeah.
Yeah, 'cause it's Friday the 9th away. But yeah, 'cause it just seems like, we're always fighting money, and this is an easy. If the boys are going there, the girls go there. If the girls are going here, the boys go there. I mean, that's just my thought.
And Tom, I can say too, I know it's kind of a far trip, but Twin Valley sometimes has a night game for softball, but the baseball field doesn't have lights, so they're gonna say, hey, can you come down on a Friday night and play?
Yeah, no, these were, I don't believe we're night game. No, I
No,
looked
but
at
mean,
some of
that's-
that. No, I get
that's-
all that. Yep,
yeah,
exactly.
We tried that in the
Yep.
past, but we try to get people to come down for night games for us, so we're like,
Yep.
okay, we
Yep.
can reciprocate once in a
Yep,
while.
no, exactly.
Along the same lines, doesn't Polly play Rivendell? It's usually in the middle of a week, and it's, 2 hours at least away from here?
Yep.
So these poor kids are rolling back into town 11, 12 o'clock at night.
We got lucky this year, it was during break, so.
Yeah, true.
But no, it's not so bad baseball, softball, but basketball, yes, it is kind of. In basketball, we can't travel. I mean,
Right.
because usually it's the JV
JV and
varsity.
Barrett, yeah, correct, yeah, that's understandable.
Okay. Linda, moving on to preschool.
Is it Quarry Valley or is it Polteny that pays about $80,000 to a private preschool in Polteny?
It would be Pulteney, I believe. I think West Rutland does send some of their kids, but it's not to the same school.
Right, it's not preschool.
It's not, okay.
Right.
I see a lot of stuff on the warrants, so
Yeah.
I don't remember it all.
Yeah, we have a couple of students that are at the Connections program at Pulteney High School. And we have one student that actually that was at the Wellness Center that is out now down at another school in the GRCSU. But their preschool is just at our school.
It's at your school?
Yes.
Okay.
What's
And
the,
you do preschool at your school too?
Yes.
Okay, so it's just Pulteney that does.
what's the do we know the history of putting that much money into a,
I don't know.
I have some.
You have some?
Yeah, I was on the board when it was started, and Louis and Jamie came up with that idea because there was definitely a need, because there were a number of kids. And so it made sense to start the preschool and start getting these kids socially together and building some small skills, so when they go into kindergarten, it was a much easier transition. They researched everything right from top to bottom and came up with a figure. As a board, we agreed because we didn't know. We weren't sure. It was new to us. And then the following year, I believe the state said X many dollars per student is all that you can charge. I will say it's been a phenomenal program. They access the elementary school for speech services, and there may be more, but I know that. They take students from outside town, and it's just an amazing program. It is an awesome program, and these kids are ready to roll when they hit kindergarten.
do we have a preschool at Pulteney Elementary? We do, don't we?
Yes.
Yes.
We do.
I think so, yeah.
I think I've subbed there. So, I mean, should we not be putting the money into our elementary school, preschool?
Well, there are certain restrictions on how many students you can have in a classroom. The regulations are much
Do we have,
stringent for pre-K than they are for,
right,
Okay.
but do we have room in the preschool? I guess that would be
I
my.
would have to take a look. I don't have those exact numbers in front of me.
Okay. Could we talk about it next month?
Sure, if you, yeah. I mean, if there's data that you need, we can bring that back, so.
Great,
Okay.
thank you.
Another issue is there room at
At the
the
school?
elementary school?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Because
Yeah.
currently they're in the Stonebridge, which is town-owned, I believe.
Correct, yep. Okay. Moving on to the Articles of Agreement, number 4 and 6.
4, 5, and 6.
Or, excuse me, 4 through 6, yep. Just take a moment to read through them. Okay. Does anybody have a question on Article 4?
Well, on the last part, no school closings are anticipated or proposed by 2018. We do have now, based on a 2025 school vote, a school may there may be an anticipated or proposed school closing to bring it up to date. Does that seem reasonable?
What does C say? Shall not close any school within boundaries during the first 4 years after the effective date of merger unless the electorate of the town in which the school is located consent to closure. Closing a school facility after July 1st, 2022 takes a vote of the electorate in the town in which the school is located and a unanimous vote of the Unified Union School District Board. So it is saying that we can consider it,
Right.
but that lays out the how it's.
All right, all we're saying is that based on the 2025 school vote, there is discussion regarding anticipated or proposed school closing or building closing, however you want to put it. That just brings it up to date.
That's not what Article 4 is saying. Article 4 is talking about the formation of the new district
It says no school closings are anticipated or proposed as of 2018.
in the forming of the district.
Right,
It's a forming article.
right, but now we are changing that.
But you're changing that possibly under Article C. You don't
Right.
have to say that in the Articles of Agreement. That doesn't have to be lined out in the Articles of Agreement.
No, but it could be,
But what is the purpose of it?
because it's the truth.
But we take lots of votes and we don't put things in the article. This is a forming article. This is saying when as we're forming, this is what's going to happen. So anything else would be talked about under Article 8.
Okay. And we will be going over Article 8. No.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yep. Okay. Any other questions? Or any other, Article 5 or Article 6? Did you want to make that a motion on what you were saying?
No,
No?
no,
Okay.
I'm just grateful we're having a discussion.
Okay.
That's all. I'm
Okay.
just grateful for that. Thank you.
Okay.
And
All right, moving on, funding student activities / gate fees. I do like, obviously I like the motion I wrote. It doesn't have to be exactly like that, but I do like student activity funds based on each school. If we were all together in one sports team, then I could see it going into where it would be combined, but that's not where we're at. So that's my opinion of it. Would anybody else like to talk about it?
so we're asking the booster clubs stay with each school. Is that the
I'm saying that the school collects the ticket money still, but the tickets proceeds that come from each high school event stays with that school, stays with that high school.
Okay.
That's what I'm proposing. That way that money is used to support their sports teams.
Or what we've done, we support more than sports teams.
We have supported more at Pontley. The Booster Club has supported more than its sports teams. But by changing the Booster Club still can support other student activities like theater, or like we sent the theater club to go to
Hamlet.
Yeah, and then we supported the art club to go to a museum. they can still do that, but the funds will have to come from a different source.
So you're saying the Booster Club cannot give those others? Or just sports goes in the activity, nothing more?
Just the, unless we're gonna collect monies from, I will recognize, unless we're gonna collect monies from a theater, event or an art event, then those monies should go into a student activity fund as well.
So I'm just seeking clarification as we start the conversation, because I feel like we've already taken two things and thrown them in the same bucket and stirred them up.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm hearing is gate fees are disassociated. We're not talking about boosters. We're just talking about
Correct.
straight gate fees.
Correct.
Gate fees will go into a student activity fund,
Correct.
i.e. gate fees, that stay with each school and are at the oversight jurisdiction of the building administrator to be used for sport-related events, since that's where the funds are coming from.
I'm fine with that, but if.
I'm asking the question. I'm
yes,
seeking the
that's
clarification.
That's what I'm saying. That's what
Okay.
I'm saying, Lisa. I'm saying if something comes from the theater, then those monies should be used for the theater. Or if we have some kind of thing for the art exhibit, if they generate funds, that should be used for the art club.
So we're
and
considering
on and
that
so
a
forth.
gate fee.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
I consider it a gate
It's-
fee.
okay.
It's an event fee. We could change it to event fee. But, yeah, I think that would be the best way to handle it. Now, maybe the board doesn't think that, and that's okay too. Whatever the board decides is up to the board, but I think it's important that, the monies that are generated at each school should go to the student fund of that school, is the basis of it. Go ahead, Chris.
Would the board be willing to listen to a proposal by the administration? We met last week
Absolutely.
to discuss this, particularly around gate receipts, and we actually have a typed copy, so if we could just pass this down, please. Sorry, I'm not sure of this one. So, and it is along the same lines of this discussion that we were just having around gate receipts, so. So after our meeting last month, the administration and myself and our business manager, Louis Malazzo, just met to discuss, one, the impact of the motion around gate receipts, and, what that would do. And so I know that the board at the end of the meeting had talked about entertaining, looking at what that might look like. And so I actually did promise the administration that they could introduce this, so I'll turn it over to one of our administrators if that's okay. So you had asked to present this, not me, so I'll let you do it.
So we met last week, and we came up with, like Chris said, our proposal, and how we put it, reinstate the charging of admission at athletic and non-athletic student extracurricular events. The receipts for these admissions go to each school's student activities fund, which is managed by the principal of each school. The athletic budgets will remain unchanged for next year, 25-26. There'll be a budget revenue shortfall of $11,000 into the general fund.
Can I explain that real quick, because that's okay? So what we had taken a look at is gate receipts, but also look at our expenses for athletics. And so by removal of that general fund, we would look at, right now, we'd be about $11,000 short to provide athletic expenses for next year, that we could look at different ways to make up. And Lois, feel free to chime in on that, as you ran the numbers on this as well. So I know he's at Polk Elementary to deal with it.
No, that's correct. So we currently have $11,000 budgeted for next year for extracurricular receipts. So if we stop putting those into the general fund and have them go into student activities, our shortfall will be $11,000. Now, the actual that we're collecting is more than $11,000, but we only have $11,000 budgeted. So our budget shortfall is only $11,000.
Okay,
Thank you.
go ahead, Joe.
Then we'll review the updated athletic budgets next year for the 26-27 school year budget, taking into account the above charges. Look at our expenses from each school, and then develop a procedure for collecting the receipts. It will include how the funds should be collected, accounted for, as well as options for compensating individuals or organizations responsible for collecting the funds.
And I'll add two things. So around number 4, one of the things that we did talk about was, while we appreciate the support of our boosters in each of our schools, we also need to not be so heavily reliant upon them to provide. So I think we look at expanding our budgets. We should really be reflecting what uniform costs would be. I know that each of us experience in the springtime that we run out baseballs, softballs, bats. We have to have a more accurate look at what that budget would be for 3 high schools, 5, and 2 elementary schools operating athletic or extracurricular programs. And that way then the booster clubs in each of our schools could really do what they're designed to do, would be to support additional, not really to provide things that we believe that, as a district we should be providing for our students. So our budget for FY27 would reflect that discussion that we have, but it would not be for next year. So, and then the proposal, Louis and I have talked about this. We'd like to put together, Louis, we put together a financial procedures manual that will outline a variety of school procedures, whether it be just POs, SAF accounts. Having worked in 2 other states with SAF accounts, I know that they are very restrictive. There's a lot of things you can and can't do. There's auditing around this. So just to make sure that we have procedures in place that would make sure that we are handling the money responsibly, that it's not just, in a sense, a slush fund. I say that, not to say it, but in other districts, places I worked at, that had to be very careful because some people just see it as, we can just do whatever we want with it, but there's still certain parameters around these SAF accounts.
So we talked about too is the budget for the schools, our supply lines should be for stuff that is necessary. Like we're in the spring season now, bats and balls and that kind of stuff. There might be a pitching net that a team, coach might say, really like to have a pitching net. That could either come out of this separate account, or that's something they go to the boosters for, and I don't know how much pitching the nets go for now, but, and go to the booster club and say, can you help us purchase this net? That's not a necessity, that's something that, geez, be nice to have, but we don't have to have it type thing. But, and unfortunately, like everything else, Joe just walked out. I know Mark kind of got a eye-opener when he was ordering baseballs and softballs. I kind of joked because found 4 softballs around this last year, and I had them in my office when the softball coach came in. I said, "Here's $20 right here," and it is. They're
And it's going up.
Yeah, and it's so. I mean, we try to, He says, "Oh, I know." I goes, "I told my players that too." It's like we're trying to.
So does this, in response to Lisa, because she said we were talking about 2 different things, is this the gate fees versus the booster club?
This is gate receipts. This is
gate receipts,
So the gate receipts
not
would-
booster.
Correct.
So
Okay.
we believe that every school would have an SAF account, and so the gate receipts would go into that SAF account. If an athletic team has like a car wash, that would go back into that SAF account, or whatever they may be, it goes back into that SAF.
So how does the booster people feel?
It's kind of like too, like we've talked about last month, the drama.
Right, this is
They take,
gates.
the trauma takes their gate or their donations and it goes into
To
an
drama,
account to go
right.
back into drama. And that's how they kind of buy the plays and supplies for their next play.
So this is actually twofold, right? I mean, you've got your sports and you've got your activities or academics.
Non-athletic extracurricular activities.
We probably, at Holtney High School at least, we probably have, Louis can correct me, 25 probably different student activity counts. I mean, we've gone through and pared them down, counts that we don't have anymore, but between 6 classes, the class of,
And that would stay with the school?
Yes.
Okay.
And if this is stuff we have And
I
there is a,
have no
I think I have to
problem
do
with that.
3 signatures by the time anything comes out of those
I have
student
no
activity
problem
accounts,
with that.
so.
And I'll let Jay and Jen and Liz talk about it. I just, when we look at the budgeting, it really would be an athletic extracurricular. I know that's the next item, but we also would be looking at how do we also budget to support our theater, our performing arts programs, so it's not just
Right.
relying upon, because I know Jen can talk that during between last meeting and this meeting, had a theater production which they lost a lot of money because they could not charge for those events. And so
Yep.
they lost a lot of money that was that would have been used to fund that program. I know it's caused a lot of anxiety with students and with staff. And so we just want to avoid that our programming is not relying upon who shows up or who doesn't, that it actually is budgeted. And that,
I would like to see it
So,
budgeted.
but-
I mean, I think, so arts, everybody knows I'm a big football guy, but I also was all-state when I was in middle school and high school for singing. So that side of school is important to me too. It was pretty good.
Really?
And I would
Yeah.
just like to say, like, I agree with that, but I told the theater students that I would advocate on their behalf. My theater program was the only one that lost money because of this vote, and I just would love it if the board would think about, take some time if things get added to the agenda to really consider the impact on students that some of these things are having.
Okay.
So we, in theater, you fund based on the things that you take in, and that helps you with your costumes and helps you buy a nicer play and help,
I would definitely like to see, I would like to see that budgeted for,
Right.
though. I would like to see that in the future budget, so that way we're not relying on that money alone.
Yeah.
And I think that the arts are an important part of school and need to be paid attention to more, because quite frankly, I think that they've taken a back seat ever since I can remember, from when I was a kid, to sports activities, which I think is unfortunate.
So can we, oh, sorry.
Now you're saying gate receipts, so say there's a varsity basketball game at West Rutland, those ticket sales go into that till and stay with the school.
Yeah, it would be a
What
student.
about like the Glodzic? That stays with the booster
but
club?
that is a booster
That's a
club
fundraiser.
activity. That is not a school
Okay,
activity.
Okay.
And that belongs to the town then?
The
No,
booster.
the
Booster
booster club.
So let's say if the booster club in any one of our schools held like a dance, want to have a dance, and so they would fill out the form, whatever it may be, but then all the proceeds, money collected from that dance, would go back to the boosters, because it a booster. But
So
anything
we are
that's affiliated with the
separate.
school, like I said,
It would be like
athletics or
if alumni basketball, you had an alumni basketball game against the varsity,
if
that
the
sort
booster
of thing.
club,
That was the booster club event. Then all those ticket
Correct.
proceeds would go to
same with our
the
PTO.
booster.
Right, and I know in a lot of our athletics boosters will run concession stands or do 50/50 or raffle tickets. That still goes, we're just talking about the gate receipt at a school-sponsored event.
So can,
I would, oh, go ahead, sorry.
can we discuss number 5? So is number 5, the first sentence, what you're talking about, creating a book of procedures?
It'd be in that financial procedure manual, yes, and I think there would be specific procedures laid out around SAFs and the collection of funds.
Okay.
So it'd be standard in all of our schools.
And then the last sentence, am I understanding that you would be paying people to run the gate? Is that, since we're only talking about gate fees, and the word compensation is in there, so.
So we would look at, and that'd be an item for discussion, if we were going to have individuals who would be working at our events, is if there would be a pay structure that we would feel comfortable with that, so it wouldn't just be set school by school, it'd be something that we felt comfortable, and in other districts I've worked at, you had a pay structure, and a lot of times people would volunteer, and they'd just donate that money back to whatever it was. Some people collected it, so it would be like $20 an event or $30 an event, if I whatever that may be, so.
And where's that coming from? From that SAF?
That would be a discussion that we would have around FY '27.
Ours would come from Booster Club.
So, because if it would come from the gate receipts, that we just make sure that it would still be standard. Yeah, Louis, go right ahead.
So the discussion that we had would be that the gate receipts would be deposited into the SAF, And then if we had a compensation structure, say it was $30 for the game, then the school would cut the check for that $30 to the individual or the organization that was running that table. So say they had the boosters, or say it was like the class of 2028 was going to run the concessions or the tables for the whole season, then the school would cut a check from the SAF account to the class, or whatever organization was running the table, and whatever was agreed upon. But there would be transparency as far as all the money would get deposited, and then a check would get cut, so you can see on the warrants that a check was being cut for that event. And just to clarify too, so we do currently have a procedures manual that all the schools have. So we'll look at adding a procedure for this and just refreshing all the procedures that we have and reviewing them and making sure that they're capturing all the items that have come up in the last few years that maybe have not been added.
So
Thank you.
I think if you were paying people at $20 or $30 a game, that's a big hit on your gate receipts, because lots of people buy passes, so you're not even getting that every game. So I don't know. I'm not a fan of that. I guess I would just like it spelled out clearly that gate funds are going into the school, into each school SAF, and that the building admin and that those funds have to stay in the school, because I think that was kind of part of the confusion or discussion. So I just want to be clear, that's
how I see this.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I perceive anyways.
okay.
Yeah, me too.
I can pretty much speak for the Booster Club. We all work the gate for nothing. And so I can't foresee our school anyway having to pay anyone
Yeah.
for any of that. You know, maybe security if there's an issue, but probably not.
And we actually have a line in
There's
the
a line
budget.
item for
Yeah.
right, for the sheriffs.
You know, because everything we get, goes into athletics.
Yeah.
So are we saying 1 and 2 then?
No, I'm fine with that. I just want to be clear about
Okay.
that. I don't foresee it being an issue at our school either.
And this is
Never
not, this
paid.
will not take place until the 26, 27
Right.
year. As far as this, the number 5, 4 and
Right,
5,
so-
we're looking at 20.
So
But the other one would take place
Now.
now.
okay.
And I mean, you know, like, we talked about, you know, I've told my kids, you can sign up for the prom, but we're not taking any money yet. You know, we have not until to see what happens tonight, because it is.
I'm fine with
You know
I'm
what
fine
saying?
with them taking
But I mean,
money
just
for
like Jen said, with the drama and stuff like that, it's kind of
Is
those.
there any money anywhere that we could give Jen's Drama Club some kind of money back for the money that they lost? Is there something, Louis, do you have any money anywhere that we could
check your pockets, Louis.
pay to pay them?
That's the board's discussion. I did report last month that we were running a surplus, so if the board wanted to.
Ah,
Okay,
Okay.
then I
Good.
think we should give Jen money back
What do
to
you-
the school.
What do you usually pull in on your place?
When we have the littles, because the littles are,
We send adorable ones.
draws. We usually make about $1,000 per show. We did 2 shows.
All right, so
Okay.
I'll make a motion that
The
we
two-
give Jen $1,000.
How about we give the Proctor High School?
Proctor High School. Okay. And I'll give
I don't
Jen
have to
an
talk
extra
about this in
100.
minutes next time.
You said 2,000, right? So 1,000 per
performance.
performance.
Yeah, she
Sorry.
said yeah.
So 2,000. Okay.
So I'll make a motion that we give Proctor High School $2,000 to compensate for the loss of revenue for their performance of Alice in Wonderland. Did I say it okay?
Lisa.
Sounds right.
To go into the theater, yeah.
Yes, to go into the drama fund.
Yeah.
One of Jen's.
All right.
Okay?
No, thank you. I don't want to touch it.
right.
Lisa and Linda have made a motion.
No.
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Hi.
Opposed? So moved.
And then I'd like to make a motion that we do what the administration proposal is as follows. Reinstate the charging of admission athletic and non-athletic student extracurricular events. Allow the receipts for these admissions to go to each school's student activities fund, which is managed by the principal of each school. Keep the athletic budgets,
I don't think we need the.
so, can we not
I
say
think just
that?
number 1 and number 2.
One, number two.
All right.
Did you want to speak to this before we vote?
And
I'll say no, number 3.
we're crossing out number 3?
I think you could just make the motion of 1 and 2. I mean, the other
Other
ones
ones
are
are more
recommendations.
So we've already
Yeah.
budgeted for FY '26, so number 3
Okay.
would be.
All right, so I am
we-
making a
we're not changing.
proposal for 1 and 2 based on what the administration has asked the board to consider and rescind the motion made by Quarry Valley Board of the April board meeting.
Motion has been made. Any discussion?
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Thank you.
All right, how about G, budgeting for,
So
is that something that'd be taken up for next budgeting?
So I think the administration, as well as our staff, recognize that we need to, particularly within I guess the vein of the strategic plan, as we're looking to increase opportunities for our students. In order to increase those opportunities, we also have to figure out how we're going to fund or pay for those opportunities and pathways and programs. So we do, we've talked before about we'd love to see our extracurricular programming, which we look at theater, performing arts, fine arts, expand in our schools in Quarry Valley. So we'd have to look at, as we bid out the FY '27 budget, what that would look like, and we would, as we begin those discussions, would have conversations about what a budget that would, I guess, take that into account.
Okay.
So, but I think we're aware of that. That's something which was built out in the strategic plan, and I think that's discussions as, what that may be.
Are we talking about clubs? Is that what we're saying? Clubs?
Well, I think we would define what that's something the administration would take a look at, what the program would be,
Okay.
what we'd be offering, and then we look at the funding for that programming. And that would be part of our the budget discussion. We come to the board with the spreadsheet. Here are the programs we'd like to offer, and then here are the funds that we feel would be able to provide for these programs.
And I've been working on that with a couple of the other administrators as our next step, so we're leading up to that discussion to bring back to you as well.
Thank you.
This would be for June.
Well, for the summer months, as we begin our
Yeah.
discussion.
I was
correct.
thinking of everything.
No, not for
between
June.
now
I
and-
think we're looking at probably,
Yes.
I would say probably
As you
August,
finish graduation, I'd like you to type this out.
We'll start talking about the budget in August?
July and August.
July and August, okay.
Depending on what yes.
Okay.
But we'll have that ready to go.
Moving on to finance, monthly financials. Louis, are you, yeah, there you are.
I don't have anything to report at this time.
Perfect. All right. Moving on to personnel actions. Any contract recommendations? Do I have a motion to accept the contract recommendation?
I make a motion to accept the contract recommendations.
A motion's been made. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Retirement resignations.
I make a motion to accept the retirement and resignations.
A motion's been made. Any discussion? Go ahead.
Since Joe's here, I'd just like to thank Joe for his time and dedication to West Rutland. I know it's odd, impromptu, maybe we didn't always get along, but I always loved you, Joe. You didn't always see eye to eye with me sometimes.
We got through it.
Well, we did, but I do appreciate your
It is
dedication.
next year, by the way.
I know,
Okay, all right.
I know. Did I seem too excited? But you certainly will be missed. It will be big shoes to fill in West Rutland.
And I think the whole board feels that way too. So thank you for all your years of service.
Yep. Thank you, Joe. All right, so a motion's on the table. All in favor? Opposed? Same.
There's a leave too, right?
Yep, that's item C.
Okay.
Leave requests.
So we have and Jay, you may be able to explain
Yep.
as well. So in fact, Jay, if you just want to explain
Sure.
the leave request and all.
So it is a personnel issue, so I won't use the names, but our facilities director is currently out on a leave, and we do not know when that individual will return. It's an ongoing issue that is being sought medical attention, lots of medical attention. So in the meantime, we've been, for the last month, working with just 3 custodians instead of 4, and now we get to mow fields and try to line baseball and softball fields. And the person that I'm recommending to take as a substitute facilities director is currently one of our custodians. He has stepped up, actually without even being asked, but we didn't know how long originally the current facilities director was going to be out. It now looks like it's going to be long-term, and we need to be able to take some action. And this person is working an enormous amount of hours. And so in discussion with Chris and Lewis, I'd like to be able to, pending board approval, that individual would like to resign as a custodian.
Take a leave.
To take a leave as a custodian and to be the facilities director on a per diem rate until that person, who is the current facilities director, returns to work.
Well, since we already approved his contract recommendation, I would like to make a motion that this young man who has graciously accepted this hard job, that we accept his leave of absence and also to give him the position of substitute facilities for West Rutland.
And then can I just ask a question? How does that, you're still just playing with 3, right?
Yes,
I mean, you just moved them around, so how?
yes.
So what are you
So
doing?
our plan, I have talked to Lewis, we will, in the past, we've hired 1 or 2 high school students to help us.
Okay.
Lewis and I have had that discussion, because there's no way we can clean our building and do everything that needs to be done. So I will say we're limping to the end of the school year. I actually had a conversation with Mr. Weiner this morning about this. We're gonna, you don't find a temporary custodian. It's impossible. I've tried it
Yeah.
a couple of times in just my time at West Rutland.
Okay.
So as a result, we're doing the best that we can. It's not nearly the level of cleanliness that we were used to. You can definitely notice that you're down, because of course also people take time off. So really, most days we have got 2, sometimes all 3 are there. So we're gonna get through the next 6 weeks. And then that's my plan. And then we will, we're trying to secure at least a high school student to help us, and there's procedures for that
Sure.
that we've used in the
No, I
past.
just don't want to burn out this guy stepping up. You don't want to burn out the 3 you have. And then summer, it's great summer's coming, but it's a short period to prep the buildings to get ready, so.
And part of it is, we're also not sure when the current facilities director is going to return.
Okay.
So we're trying to be as optimistic, but also
Sure.
realistic at the same exact time.
Okay.
So I'd hate to try to go and hire someone under, even temporary, if it turns out to be 2 weeks.
Yeah,
So
gotcha.
it's.
I guess that was,
it's a
it was a
tough- it's
little
tough position to be in.
uncertain about that. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Thank you.
Yep,
Okay.
thank you.
So there is a motion on the table. Is there any further discussion or questions regarding the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. All right, back to general public comment.
I would just like to thank everybody here for listening to what I had to say, and I'm optimistic that we're all going to be working together and with the right common goal, and that's to support our programs, whether they be sports, drama, music, whatever it is. We want the best for our kids, and that's what we're here for.
And thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Nope. Future meeting date is June 12th.
Yeah, that's the Foley Elementary graduation.
Would the board like to meet on the June 5th?
I'm fine with that.
That would be.
June 5th is our senior banquet.
Yes,
Okay,
class-
well, that's
class
why I
meeting.
know that we're running into, there are no graduations scheduled, so
Well,
the
I
5th is
mean-
out. Well, I understand, but it's a busy time of year, so
Yeah, it is.
I don't have all the other things, I just do graduations. and
Yeah,
stuff.
I know. Gotcha.
Well,
You can invite all the
what's on
actual
June
things.
5th again? I'm
Our
sorry.
senior banquet in West Rutland.
Yes, senior class night.
Yeah.
How about the 11th?
It's our play. Rutland.
Rutland Town's graduating then.
Okay, can't do that. Okay.
Yeah, and Well Springs has a board meeting then.
Okay.
Tough time of year. Yep.
Can we hold off until the 19th?
Good.
Is there anything on the 19th? Anybody?
Yeah, I think the problem is we put the schedule out, you block those off, so.
So are we saying no or yes?
There's a motion.
what
That's a
day?
motion, right, for the 19th?
19th.
Is there a motion to change the meeting date to
I'll
the 19th?
make a motion to change the meeting date so that Quarry Valley can be present, or Pulteney people can be present for the Pulteney Elementary School graduation. And we reschedule it for the 19th of June at 6 PM here at West Rutland, Greater Rutland County Supervisory Union.
Okay. So any discussion?
I have a question. I thought we were going to go to every town, like we went to Pulteney, this is West Rutland. Should we be at Proctor that night?
I think we were doing that because thought there was gonna be a crowd talking about closing the school.
True.
We've had
Yeah.
no takers.
Yeah,
No, we haven't, but,
yeah.
Maybe when it gets closer to.
yeah. Just in all fairness to everybody.
And honestly, it does make a difference for Pulteney being in Pulteney, but here, we are so close to this building that I think if people wanted to
You're
come,
like
it's not
10
like
minutes.
that, yeah, it's not that much farther than.
Happy to host, but
Just
Okay.
wanted to make sure we're. Thank you.
Okay. Yep, so, so motion's been made. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? So moved. So our next meeting is June 19th. Here. At 6 PM. Future agenda items.
We got a lot.
We got a lot there. So one, purchase a new driver's ed car, but we also have,
So Eric, I think we just put driver's ed discussion. And that will be part of that discussion because we
all right.
are looking at staffing and what
Yeah.
that potential solution may be. So that'll be a bigger discussion.
Okay, so driver's ed discussion. And then we moved Mike's request for public board access and board process to June as well.
Plus
Okay.
all the other stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
Is there any need for executive session?
I think we should have one and discuss the last meeting a little bit.
We can't go to executive session for that.
So just start talking about that. I don't know.
Unless it's specific
It's personnel. or
Personnel.
budget.
that you want to talk about.
What if a personnel person was wronged, and we're trying to correct it. No?
Then that is personnel.
But that would be,
It was really wronged, like, not,
so I think I would have liked to have had heads up prior to,
I thought it
That
would have
discussion.
came up with last meeting, because that wasn't a good meeting, as Dion and other people.
well, I don't think anyone here is going to disagree that it was not a good
Yeah.
meeting, you know, but I think if we're going to do a personnel, we have to be very specific. We can't just say personnel, so go in for personnel. I think,
How
and
about
I
you,
have to look at it, you know, in terms of what that
how about you,
discussion would be, and if someone's going to be discussed, they have to be warned and talked about, so I think that's,
how
No,
about,
I don't need principals here, anybody here. If you want to stay, you can stay. I mean,
but if we're going to talk about anybody specifically, they should have the right to be there and defend themselves, but also be prepared, now they got you moment either. So I think it's something, if we want to discuss
Gotcha moment,
personnel.
It was just not very
So-
good.
I,
how about you bring
I
it,
just-
bring it to me, and then we'll talk about for June.
we can,
Is that-
if we know in advance what we're discussing, then we can also
Yeah.
come prepared to talk about that.
You okay with that, Tom?
Is that okay?
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion's been made. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.